What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 3 of my Tiger King Season 2 review. Just when you think this story, this reality show, this documentary can't get any more bonkers, it does. Alright, episode 3 starts out with Sandra Whitcop stating that someone forged her name on a bunch of papers, including Don Lewis's will. Carol Baskin states that Don had her change his will numerous times to keep his greedy kids out of it. They state that Don Lewis's signature on his power of attorney papers was traced from his marriage certificate. Jim Moore, who was a former volunteer, states that the last time he saw Don Lewis was on August 17th, the day before he disappeared. Now we're going to go into the 17th, 18th, late night, early morning, that Sunday night, that early Monday morning. Carol Baskin is seen at 3 a.m. walking down the street, acting hysterical. States that she went to Albertstein's store because she thought it was a 24/7 store. States that she left for the store sometime after the 11 p.m. feeding. But when she got there, the store is closed. I guess it wasn't a 24/7 store. She was spotted at 3 a.m., 4.4 miles away from the store. What was going on in between that time of when she states that she was at that grocery store and to when she was spotted 4.4 miles away at 3 a.m.? Carol Baskin stated that her car overheated and she couldn't get the radiator cap off, so she let it sit for a while but couldn't get it to start. There's no police report of her car being broken down. When she was found walking down the street acting hysterical, her brother is the one that showed up first. That's pretty convenient, right? It's possible. Now, here's the big theory. It's possible that she didn't go to that grocery store at all that night. That could have been the time that something happened to Don Lewis, and that was going to be Carol Baskin's alibi of where she was when this was going down. Donna, one of Don Lewis's daughters, states that that could have been the time when someone was disposing of Don Lewis's body. Kenny Farr's ex states that Kenny showed up that same night around 11:30 with a bunch of guns. She states that Kenny told her that Carol gave him all the guns because she wanted them out of the house. Now, what if one of those guns was the murder weapon? Kenny states he traded the work of moving a house for Don's gun collection. He first states that Don gave him the guns, then switches his story to Carol gave him the guns, and then switches it back to Don gave him the guns. The same van that Kenny used to transport the guns was found at the airport. Now, another theory, that van could have been planted to make it look like Don flew to Costa Rica when he actually didn't, when he was allegedly perhaps being fed to tigers. Carol Baskin states that one of the volunteers at the zoo was a bounty hunter, so she got him to go to Costa Rica to look for Don Lewis. His name was Tim. Tim denies all of this, states he never left Tampa. One of Don's daughters, Donna, states it's possible that someone hid her dad's remains in a lake on one of his properties that they called the farm. Joe Exotic thinks that they should send divers there. They might find something and they could put Carol Baskin in jail. Man, Joe Exotic is not in a lot of these last 2 episodes. This seems to be more like what happened to Don Lewis, and I'm all in on it. It's fantastic. I'm just surprised by the lack of Joe Exotic. Ripper states that the lake is gator infested. To me, that means that everything is probably gone by now, because that was 1997, this is 2021, that's like, what, 24 and a bit years ago? Gators can eat bones. No, if they eat bodies, the bones get digested too, I would assume. I'm not a gator expert, but I would think that most of those bones are gone, but who knows? Maybe they could find a part of a bone. It's definitely worth looking. You could find a skull, a bone, anything would help, but it just seems unlikely. And how safe is it for these divers to be in this gator-infested lake? Either way, if it is gator-infested. The divers did not find anything. Kenny Farr denies he had anything to do with Don Lewis's disappearance. Said he took a lie detector test. He did pass that lie detector test, but no one asked him about the guns. They just asked him about the disappearance of Don Lewis, which I guess was the big thing at the time. Other people wish they would have asked Kenny about the guns because they think there's more to that gun story than what Kenny is letting on. Kenny's ex states that Kenny got very paranoid after Don's disappearance, states that he put up cameras everywhere and started to abuse her. The cops were called one time and they came and took all the guns. So those guns are now in storage somewhere out of a police department, numbered. Man, one of those guns could definitely be the murder weapon. I mean, allegedly, right? But if that is what happened, one of those guns could definitely be what they're looking for. Anna and Ann try to go visit Kenny, but he won't see them. So they leave a note on his truck. They, whoever the lady is that's talking through the door threatens to call the police on them. The detective states that Kenny is part of the ongoing investigation, but he will not speak to them. And he also states that Carol Baskin will not speak to them. They got denied through her attorneys, and Carol Baskin denied to take a lie detector test. Then they talk about Carol Baskin being on Dancing with the Stars. They talk about the commercial that John Phillips put together and aired during Carol Baskin's segment on Dancing with the Stars, looking for information for Don Lewis's family on the disappearance of Don Lewis. And they even mentioned Carol Baskin by name. Shortly after that, the Lewis family parted ways with John Phillips. Ripper states that he was more concerned with media coverage. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but Ripper is a fellow YouTuber like myself, and the big case that he covers is the Tiger King case and the disappearance of Don Lewis. And now we're introducing Troy Griffin, who is a psychic detective. States he was never trained for this. He fell into it by accident by meeting someone at a gift shop 16 years ago. States that he has found where bodies are located, and all he needs is to see a picture of the victim. States that he can see through the victim's eyes. The Lewis family brings him to the lake. Troy immediately gets sick because of all the bad juju going on at that lake. Troy states that this is where Don was murdered, and he was murdered from behind. And then, this is where it gets even weirder for me. Troy then goes on talking about a chicken container. He saw a yellow chicken container, and to him that's big because he was talking about chicken all day. I don't know. That was strange to me. John Phillips, after getting released by the Lewis family, is now hired by Joe Exotic. John states that he was traded from the Lewis family to Joe Exotic. Now here we go. Back to some Joe Exotic news. Alan Glover, who was the alleged hitman hired to kill Carol Baskin, states that Joe Exotic is innocent. He was framed. And that's huge coming from Alan Glover. Alan states he had no desire to kill Carol Baskin. He states that Joe Exotic was framed from start to finish, and now he wants to help get him out. Woohoo! Man, they end these episodes with pure fire, making you want to come back for the next episode. They're so well. The story is bonkers, but the episodes are so well put together, and they always leave it with that big cliffhanger that makes you want to come back to see the next episode. So that's the end of episode 3. That big ending. The hitman stating that Joe Exotic was framed start to finish. I'm very excited to see where this goes. What do you think of Tiger King episode 3? What do you think of the Tiger King case in general? Don Lewis, Joe Exotic, everything. Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you again soon.